Starting. 10 days, brother.
10 days.
10 days. Here's the question.
Santa Claus is coming.
Have you started shopping yet?
Absolutely not.
Same here.
Absolutely not. This is probably the worst I've ever been behind.
Not me. This is about me. This is right about my schedule. Now, for a while, I could lean on Amazon, but their shipping, I mean, all the guarantees about their shipping is just done now. You know what I mean? You might as well just give it up.
Well, they're so busy and so packed, man. I mean, it's
I'm not even interested in being, like, every time I go anywhere near a mall or a store, I just immediately lose interest.
I don't think it's that I'm not interested. Honestly, I think it's that my kids have everything. It's just there's nothing for them. People watching might not want to hear and see this, but I mean, really, what do you do for a family that has everything? That includes, everybody would like to have nice things, right, no doubt. But what do you really do when you really do have everything? Let me tell you how bad it is. I am on my way home the other day with my son. And I says, Christian, do you want to stop at the mall and get some tennis shoes, or you want to go home? I want to go home. Who says that? Who doesn't? That's how many he get, though. He doesn't care. He just
Ethan would never say that in a million years. But I do feel the same way. You know, whether they want to admit it or not. Right. You know, they're very spoiled. We have everything. We have things piled on top of things. Nowhere else to put things. You know, we buy stuff all throughout the year. Most of the stuff that would be Christmas gifts, we've bought for ourselves. I mean, we're just like, y'all, we need some knives this year. Let's just wrap them up. I mean, just necessities, basically. So now here's the other part with us, though, is like, you still have the magic of a little one.
Yeah.
So there's still some energy behind that.
Yeah. But even with him, it's not, you know, because he's so little that whatever I get him, he's going to love. I can go to Dollar General.
And you should.
Just go up and down the house.
And you absolutely should. You should just get stuff like plates and towels and stuff. They just want to open up the paper.
I've been bringing the stuff home from church that they've been just bringing, you know, periodically. And he just, Daddy. Matter of fact, I went to the missionary party the other day. He gave like a pillow. He's like, it's my gift. It's my gift. He wrapping a pillow around his neck like he Flavor Flav.
Wasn't that supposed to be for the African kids? That's the missionary of the.
Yeah, the missionary.
Y'all taking them poor people's gifts?
No. No, she brought the missionaries.
Okay, Jason said Five Below is the spot.
Yeah.
You're right.
It is.
You're right. It's about to be a Five Below Christmas. Even though they now have a section like, that's like 25 below. Just like Dollar Tree got the $1.75 tree now. I mean, it's different. I mean, so it's weird because, you know, here's the other thing that robs us of the magic. Obviously, Ethan still has fun, but it's all fun. But I do love that he still has fun. I love that he's like a boyish boy. But I mean, London's sending me Shein carts. You know, it's just, I never imagined the list used to be enough. You know what we had? We didn't have Shein carts. We had that giant Christmas catalog, and we were circle the stuff. We wanted the big G.I. Joe playset, the
And the funny thing is, I don't know about you because y'all was a little bougie.
Not bougie.
Y'all was a little bougie. But I would open up all my stuff on Christmas. I go back to the book and I'm like, ain't nothing that I marked on this book. Ain't nothing.
Really saying for us, George wasn't buying nothing out that book. He ain't never got us nothing out that wish list book. But no, I mean, so it takes a little bit of the magic. It's like sterile now. It's so, you know, just commerce based.
Now, let me tell you what my wife hates. My wife hates that me and my daughter tell each other exactly what we want.
I hate that too. Her family, my wife's family does that.
Yeah,
they will ask you, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like,
I'd rather get you what you want than try to, you know, because
I have this thing, because I did it with my wife, and I will be one-sided about this. where I would go and do like research about things I did not know much about. Like I know nothing about jewelry, like nothing about the person she liked. So even from being my, girlfriend to fiance to wife, I would like, hey, call her sister or her aunt. Or ask somebody, what has she been looking at?
With purses, it ain't about what they look like, it's about what the price tags are.
I get it, but which one was she looking at? You know what I mean?
The one that say $700, that's the one she wants.
Right. And so here's my thing. I have wanted people to do that for me. Think about what I like and get me something that I would like. Don't just ask me.
That's the whole point, though, right? To surprise somebody with something.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I feel like the point is to, number one, surprise. And I think once you're in a relationship, we're all grown now, is to show that you know them enough that you still know how to excite them.
Well,
through gift
unless
giving.
you get me a Corvette, I'm not going, because I buy myself everything I want.
When she does ask, I do say the same answer every year. I say iMac. iMac. And, obviously I don't have one. So, but here's the other side. When you're married.
It falls on deaf ears.
When you're married, and I mean, every couple is different, but, we basically have, joined. Everybody trying to dig that hard. Okay.
You get cool points, though.
Okay, you get cool points.
You get cool points.
I get cool points. I get listening. Stuff for her that she didn't know that I've been watching. I've been listening.
Does she really thank you, and does she really know that you done that?
She does, because she be like, well, I didn't know you were paying attention when I said that. I'm like, yeah, I be watching what I try to ignore you. Like I ain't listening when she, scrolling through and showing me stuff. Like it's tucking in the back of my head, a little stuff. Talk about, it could be, we need a new coffee maker at work or something like that, like dumb stuff. And so that kind of thing. But I mean, that's always been a thing for me. You know what I mean?
Me and my wife plan this year is to just buy stuff for the house. That's
nigga, buy stuff for me.
That's
buy stuff for me. Okay, and that's the thing though. If I did get that big gift, it's basically coming out of our bank account anyway. You know what I mean? So
I know what I want for Christmas.
What you want for Christmas, Big Mike?
I want some stuff to put on them shelves behind y'all.
Listen, we need some knickknacks, y'all. We need some knickknacks. We got to figure something out. Maybe y'all can send us in a few things that you like to see up here. A black Jesus or something more.
Tiffany said a black Santa Claus.
We need a photo of black Jesus that used to be up in our grandma's house.
Oh, absolutely.
We need to find one.
Absolutely.
I think that would be appropriate.
It'd be awesome.
Mike said, what were places that got you excited? Hills, definitely.
Oh, Hills. For sure.
Hills was the spot, man. And my aunt worked there.
They had stonewashed jeans.
Here's how I know my wife and I were soulmates. I don't even believe in soulmates, but here's how I know my wife and I were soulmates. When I was like, yeah, that's my Aunt Rosie. She used to work at Hills. And she's like, this is my Aunt Janie. She used to work at Hills. We both had an aunt who used to work at Hills. Be giving us them layaway deals.
And you can get them big gulps, the slushies.
The hot dogs, the pretzel, the popcorn.
The popcorn was the bomb.
Who are you telling?
You couldn't say nothing about it.
Then it turned to Ames and it stepped down a bit. Ames was a step down.
And Walmart, you can't get nothing for free.
Walmart, you just gonna see a fight in the aisles.
They don't even got a tap.
But right. No, Hills definitely, Kmart and Super K was the spot for us growing up.
Yeah.
So we had this table right before Thanksgiving. We finally took down our table. The very first kitchen table we bought for our house when we got married.
Wow.
Before Christmas. And I gotta find this picture, and I'll try to find it before next week. And Shamika had made her own little Christmas meal for us, candles and everything. Because her grandma used to always teach her, you gotta have a meal for your own house. Like even if you're going to eat at grandma's, you're supposed to have a little ham, a little something to eat. Here's like what they like to say, something to eat on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I got a wife. I mean, what else I need?
Retch around here.
Retch around here and get that.
Retch around here and get that knife.
We got this first table, and it has stood the test of time. And we took it down because we got a new one for our downstairs. And I told Shamika, I said, I'm holding this until we reach June for our 20th anniversary, because this table has been with us all 20 years.
Put it in the garage for London.
Put it in the garage for London?
Yeah.
You know what? I took my parents' old kitchen table at first, because that's what we replaced it with. Mm-hmm. And when I was by myself, I had my parents' old kitchen table, no chairs, just a table. But I mean, Kmart was the spot. That's where I stood in line for the very first time for Black Friday and bought a 27-inch flat screen Sony TV.
27?
For like $450.
27-inch?
27.
Wow.
27. And kept that thing right up until about 2 years ago when the volume stopped working.
I can still remember when my mother used to take us there, and she'd take us, and like soon as layaways opened, soon as the layaway thing started opening, she took us, and she'd take us to get all these toys and put them in layaway. We never ended up with all the toys.
She go back without you and start taking it. You gotta take that off. You gotta take that off.
I think she was waiting on one of the people to come pay for everybody layaways.
Listen, Shaq's not coming. Shaq's not coming this year.
Never happened to us.
Hey, Miss Rucker, we gonna get that Hills popcorn back for you. We gonna get that Hills. Somebody can make a killing with some Hills popcorn, brother.
Hills popcorn and Idora Park fries.
Okay, I'm not old enough for that, but okay.
Yes, sir, Doc.
Idora Park fries.
Idora Park fries was the best.
You used to jump the fence to get in?
Man.
Or did you just walk in and had to pay for everything, basically? Did they have admission or did
it was admission at one time, and I think when they switched from the Jackrabbit to the Back Rabbit.
The Back Rabbit? Not the Back Rabbit.
All they done was made the same ride go backwards.
Right. Not the Back Rabbit.
I think everything went downhill after that.
Pastor Kid said the 70s retro table. Man, I'm loving it, man. Well, get your Christmas shopping in, y'all. You got to get it in. Got to get it done. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect family. Thank you for joining us.
What's happening, y'all? How y'all doing? We are brought to you today by the African American Community Fund. The African American Community Fund, established in 2020 at the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio, supports Black-led and Black-serving organizations throughout the 32 counties of Appalachian Ohio to elevate the quality of life and address disparities in African American communities. Please check them out at www.appalachianohio.org/AACF.
All right.
Check them out.
So first things first.
First things first. I want to know out there, how many of y'all checked out my boy, So You're Gonna Be?
He had to sing it.
Are you gonna be? So you gonna be? Are you gonna be?
Okay. You already ruined it. You already ruined it.
Jamie Foxx,
I thought you were talking about Luther.
The real Jamie Foxx. He
Foxx
is not
special.
a clone. Listen.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Listen, he let you know.
He wasn't a clone.
He let you know.
Yes.
Okay.
He let you know he was not a... Listen, Jamie took us to church, y'all.
I heard. I only saw a few clips. So you tell me about it, Pastor Jeff.
Jamie took us... Listen, that song he sang, I don't even remember what it was. He sang a song, man.
Was it a church song?
Yeah. He went in, Doc.
I haven't seen all the clips yet.
He went in.
He was actually freestyling.
Oh, he was freestyling
that?
Yeah, he freestyled that.
Oh, he killed it. He killed it, Doc. He killed it.
He did a song of the Lord?
He did it.
Hey, okay, Glenn, every single person who says, every man who says I didn't cry, they actually cried. Now, I didn't see enough posts to know
Mariah
that.
said she hated it?
Mariah hated it?
Come on, Mo.
How you hating on Jamie?
It was good. It was good.
Okay, it was good. Okay, so why was it good to you, Mike?
Comedy, real life. He told his story about what happened. It was real. It was genuine. I mean, he took you through every emotion to me.
Absolutely.
So he didn't get abducted by aliens.
No,
He's not a clone.
He's not a clone.
He's not a clone. I mean, but when his daughter came out, man.
Okay.
When his daughter came out with the guitar, that was it for me, Doc. I was done.
Wow.
I was done.
Wow.
He's like, play that guitar. Let him know it's you. I was like,
is that right?
I'm telling you. I was like,
now,
yes.
some people said it wasn't so much a comedy special as a one-man show. Like, it wasn't meant to be like stand-up, like traditional, we think of stand-up. And so I can feel that because that's when I want to go in knowing about it.
Right, because honestly, the first time I watched it, I'm like, I hope he going to switch gears and go into the comedy routine. And he did a little bit, but he stuck to
just like storytelling with some comedy intertwined. Dave Chappelle's last special was somewhat like that, where it wasn't as funny as much as like a coda, like an ending to what he wanted to say. It was like a joke of stand-up, but it wasn't as funny as the first few specials.
Right.
He's saying God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. He said, you want to co-host that too, Mo? Okay, Clark said he didn't like it. He didn't watch the whole show. See, I might lose interest now. Okay, depending on the ones that didn't like it, I might not like it now.
You got to watch it, man.
I got to watch it?
No, I understand where people are coming from where, he was preaching.
It was too preachy.
For lack, well, yeah, it wasn't too preachy, but then he would cuss like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Okay, so I did see some posts and reels about that. Seeing that I did not watch it yet.
Yes.
And maybe that's a broader conversation as a part of our First Things First.
Right.
Is where do you draw the line where someone is telling their story, including God in it, and at the same time dropping bombs and saying some things that are very, very inappropriate? And does that, once again, as we say, the Christian faith, we seem to sort of cross those lines more than anybody else does. So what do you feel about that mixture?
It's for me, it's like I saw, for most times when I see people doing it, I see way more of the dirty than I see of the God.
She said white women can keep them.
He had a skit about that too.
Yeah, he had a skit about that.
And she said all of the cussing was about God.
Nah, I wouldn't say all that.
What was he cussing when he was talking about God?
I think he used nigga. I think he used nigga a lot.
I can't remember every word, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did.
Scott said his Netflix is still lagging from the Tyson fight.
He preached and cuss. He must be Baptist.
Preached and cuss. Reverend R.W. Fox, the Reverend Dr. R.W. Fox from the Mount Moriah Baptist Church. I mean,
I agree with you, Carletta. The cussing was a bit much, but the overall story was good.
The overall story was good.
Yeah,
I mean, I still cringe when I feel like the name of God is being impugned with too much vulgarity. I feel like if one little thing is slipped in there, whatever, but when you like really doing a whole show.
Well, I think, because they're still looking for funny. They're still looking for funny.
Choose ye this day.
I get it, but I'm just saying.
Well, pick a special.
I'm not looking for him to be T.D. Jakes. I wasn't looking for him to come out there and be T.D. Jakes.
Then just be Jamie Foxx then, though.
Well, maybe that is
Give
Jamie
your first
Foxx.
little 3 minutes.
Maybe that is
But
Jamie
I'm just saying,
Foxx.
but do your first little 3 minute. I thank God for, I mean, even rappers know how to do that. They only mention God for 90 seconds at the Grammys. The rest of it is hoes and bees and everything else, and they go on with their life. They're not over here trying to do half gospel albums.
How many preachers have you got watched get up, kill it, and y'all went out afterwards to dinner?
None.
And then
We're sanctified.
Please.
We are saved.
Please.
Filled with the Holy Ghost.
Please.
I hang with that crew, man.
I know you don't, but you've been around them. They exist.
And we even separate ourselves from people. I mean, it's not my crew. I go out, when we go out, conventions and whatnot, you go out and you see who's who, and you're like, that's not my crew.
Right.
I'm not saying I won't have a dinner or whatever. Hey, I'm trying to get this position. No, I'm joking. But I'm just saying, it's not. I'll be like, the cigars come out and people hanging. And
sometimes I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked. I'd be like, I mean, I really do be, because they done preached, they done killed the house. And I'm like, they come out, nigga, what the.
But right. Where the liquor store at? Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge, but I have heard that there was a lot of, cursing involved. And again, he's telling his story. And so his story is his story, so God bless him in his story, and I'm glad he's alive and I'm glad he's well. And, but old girl had me cracking up. The white girls can have him. White girls have him. Were you a big Jamie Foxx fan?
I wasn't. I've never really been a big Jamie Foxx fan.
I liked him more as an actor.
I like his singing. I
watched one special years ago. Yeah, was it from the Foxhole or something like that? I forget what it was.
Foxhole Productions. Yeah.
That was a good. I was younger. I thought it was whatever, and I didn't. When he became an actor and I like some of his, some of his movies and all. Ray was it for me
when he done the Brady Bunch, Joe. That killed.
That was it.
That killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That killed.
Well, when we went to Jamie Foxx, but I mean, I guess because I seen this. We've seen a lot of R&B artists like. Who's my man? Charlie Wilson, different ones. The Isley Brothers. They're all doing like gospel segments now in their concerts. He's doing gospel day at the in the clink.
You still don't like I Believe I Can Fly?
I don't, man. No, I always thought it was a whack song anyway. I always thought it was a whack song in the first place. But I'm saying, like, they've literally made, like, praise breaks and testimony services a part of their shows.
Yeah.
And a part of me just kind of be like, just do R&B.
Yeah, I get you.
Just do R&B. So it is what it is. But then again, folk come to church do the same show every week too. So, so it is what it is. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us, man. It's going to be a good show. We got some great stuff to talk about. Be sure to like, share, comment. Let us know you're in the room and tag somebody. Bring them on in. But right now, it's time for Meme of the Week.
Meme of the Week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
We are, these are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right, y'all. So this video is entitled When the Testimony Goes Too Far. When the testimony goes too far. We've talked about this more than once. What happens when the testimony goes too far? It's a TMI testimony. TMI testimony. You know, we get it. We've done this before, but every once in a while, another one floats around. We've stopped testimony services because of it, but here we are. So this one is praise and worship leader flowing with a testimony. Her testimony, Pastor Jeff.
She's into it.
If you can't tell it, let me tell it. Go on ahead and tell it for us, sister.
Nothing I did, nothing I tried, nothing I smoked, nothing I snorted, nothing I drank, no man I did, no one did me, nothing did me any good. Oh Lord, even that food, the food I put in my mouth wouldn't help me, Lord.
Okay, I need to know what song she was singing that got her to this place. You know, I needed to know what song got her to this place. Like, what is she comparing the Lord to that hasn't satisfied her? But
no man.
No man I did.
No food.
No food.
Not even fried chicken.
Nothing I snorted.
Not one rib.
Nothing. I know a few people that would disagree.
not a fried bologna
Nothing
sandwich.
I've drank.
Not the Hennessy or the E&J.
Not even a Ripple.
The St. Ives couldn't do it for her.
Not even the booger sugar.
Not the booger sugar. Not Uncle Jim, Uncle Joe.
Listen, none of them.
Uncle James.
The neighbor next week, the mailman. But she's testifying.
But she's letting you know nobody is better than Jesus to her.
Nobody's better than Jesus. Wait, let me get her play it again. The lady on the left at the end. I wonder if she has some co-conspirators in there. Maybe they haven't been delivered yet. Let's see.
Hold on, Neil.
Yeah, play that again. This is where a sound man ministry is very helpful.
Hey, it was working a minute ago.
No, I'm saying to cut her mouth. Oh, okay. She's supporting.
Talk.
Look at her face.
She said, "You going in?"
Oh, she about to go in herself. She like, give me the mic.
Wait, no, that one.
She like,
okay, Apostle Thomas, and it was the old Andre Crouch show. Oh, it is Jesus, and nothing and nobody else apparently. Oh, old girl had the look on her face.
yeah.
She said, "I don't want no peanut butter and jelly." But that's her testimony,
Hey,
and she's not ashamed of it.
would you bring testimony service back?
We can't.
You can't.
We can't.
Too much.
She would just be telling stories at this point and lying.
Right.
And lying.
Well, it's the one-ups to get me.
Right.
It's the one, because somebody testify and you get a clap that, I want to clap too.
Yeah, I want to clap too, right. Yeah.
I just want to piggyback on what Pastor Todd said.
Listen.
Everybody want to piggyback.
How you going to testify about finding somebody else's wallet and they in the church down the street praying for a blessing? That doesn't make sense. And listen, Marlon said, it's a man in the congregation hoping she doesn't say his name. Not Deacon
No, it's a man in the congregation talking about, later on he gonna be like, oh, I ain't better than Jesus. Huh?
Listen.
Oh, I ain't better than Jesus.
She ought to be shamed.
That meme was from Scott Heater too, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Scott. We appreciate it.
We appreciate
you. See, we play some memes sometimes. We do it sometimes.
We just don't play Mo's.
We don't play Mo's. We don't play Mo's. Well, if you have a meme that you'd like to perhaps get played, unless your name is Mo, you can send it to religiouslyincorrectpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to take a look and see what you got. You can inbox them to us. Again, oftentimes you send us something that we may have played before. We've been on for 5-6 years now, so there's only so much we can put on. Dave, you're right. You have a former drug dealer testifying about how they used to be balling and still looking flashy. Exactly.
Right.
You're still slanging in the parking lot when you leave here.
You ain't took that hat off since you got in the church.
That offering envelope still smell. Give my staff a contact high. We got it. Now, we appreciate you guys for watching. We want to thank our sponsors for supporting us, the Phillips family of businesses, Phillips Care Lawn Services. Not only do lawns, but they also take care of snow removal, salting, clearing sidewalks, and all the other things that come with the winter weather. Call them at 330-219-7916 and go ahead and lock them in for the springtime, so your lawn will be ready and fresh to go when the weather breaks. We also are grateful to the Phillips Care Cleaning Service, residential and commercial cleaning. Don't waste your time. Let them do it. They do room cleaning, carpet cleaning, floor cleaning, move in, move out, upholstery, and all types of renovations and repairs to personal and commercial buildings. Give them a call at 330-219-7916 or check them out on Facebook at Phillips Care LLC. Planning the perfect event? Look no further. At Annex Events, we've got everything you need to make your event unforgettable. From stunning tents, comfy chairs, and all the extras, we've got you covered. Super Bowl parties, graduation parties, corporate events, and of course, church banquets and anniversaries. We cater to all, plus our friendly team will handle the setup and breakdown so you can relax and enjoy the day. Call Annex Events and let's make your next celebration a hit. Mention the Religiously Incorrect podcast and receive 10% off your first rental. Call 330-979-2909 or visit annexevents.com. And we are super duper grateful for all of our sponsors. Want to do a quick shout out for Mo's Christmas in the community.
Mo, she is doing big things.
Doing big things. Mo, you ain't got time to be on this show when you taking over Christmas. STEAM Academy, Saturday, December 21st, 12 p.m. She's passing out meals to the community, food. There will be crafts, activities, games for young people, for our children. Sign up.
Started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom. Now she here.
She here.
Now she
taking
here.
over Christmas, taking over Harding's basketball court. I mean, she's just doing everything.
Just making big things happen, and we're proud of her.
And I get to say, she was my executive assistant.
She's your executive assistant.
She is all that in the bag of chicks.
She's our member at Second Baptist Church.
Come on, sir.
As if you don't hate us enough. All right, y'all. No. We have person that said, forgive me for our homosexual activities in the organ player. So that's why we don't.
Wow.
Hey, at least they were trying to get right.
And we got Black Santa.
That's all right. Go, Mo. Go, Mo. Go, Mo. We're very proud of you. Well, today's show is entitled Wounded Warriors.
Wounded Warriors. Wow, let's talk about it.
This stems from, Pastor Jeff, a few weeks back, actually in the last month and a half or so, we've had two of our most prominent preachers have medical emergencies while ministering. I know you're not. I'm glad you're not on camera. I mean, we'd probably have to stop the show if they had. Y'all, thank God.
I missed it.
Thank God. We've done a lot of things on this show now. But I appreciate our producer for saving our season. Bishop Marvin Winans had a moment while he was preaching and teaching, and he began to grow weak and faint. And had to be attended to while he was teaching in a church. And most recently, Bishop T.D. Jakes at the Potter's house.
I was just going to see if you was going to help me out, man.
I wasn't going to help you out.
It's all right.
I wasn't going to help you out. I wasn't joining you.
No, I'm talking about help me out if I fail.
Oh yeah, man, you already know.
Come on, man.
You already know. But no, you weren't. But, you know, and he had his incident during the altar call, and it was a very, very, you know, harrowing and scary experience. And we've talked about self-care and the overall general health of pastors and ministers, the stress, the strain, how we need to look after our mental well-being. Wow. Okay. Wow. Pastor Kid, you fainted. I've had dizzy spells. I went through a time of severe dizzy spells that most people didn't really even notice. But I was having about 2.5 years ago, dizzy spells in the pulpit. And so that can be harrowing, because this isn't about, you know, maybe it is about, you know, you need to eat better, you need to exercise, you need to get more sleep. Well, you know, all those things are true. But this is more about this show, that is, what exactly happens? How do you feel? How do you respond when it actually does happen? If there is an incident. Now, we're all human beings. We're all human beings. And so our bodies can fail at any time, and that can... when I jump off the altar, I know. Mike was worrying too.
They told me so many times to stop, and
they told it,
it's the Superman in us.
I'm gonna tear ACL one of these days, and it's gonna be over for me. I'm gonna pull a hammy one of these days. But I mean, it's scary to see. Now, as pastors, let's start on this level, Pastor Jeff. We know the helpless feelings. y'all messing with me now. That's Scott talking about. Some people get lightheaded when walking on pews. I had an incident last week. I stepped over the rail, jumped up on a pew. We had one of them services.
But you got lightheaded?
Oh no! I didn't get no. Okay. But they're just okay. But we know the helpless feeling being pastors, looking out and seeing a medical incident in the church, and a member grows faint. It could be as simple as a dehydration. It could be a very serious. I mean, we've had, at my father's church and at our church, we're calling ambulances. You know, I have been in a service, not at our own church, where one of the mothers of the church passed out right then and there.
Absolutely.
And, you know, she was gone.
Yep.
And, you know, they revived in the ambulance and all that. But it's harrowing for us to see that.
Absolutely.
But it's probably, and I know it is even more harrowing to see the minister, you know, go through that. So have you ever witnessed that as a member, seeing a minister have, you know, that moment of weakness, or you have a worry for their health condition?
Seeing the minister do it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever saw a minister. I don't think I've ever been in a service where a minister has passed out. I've been around a lot where, matter of fact, the one we were in prayer and she passed out and she passed away.
Right.
But I've seen that a lot. I've been in the pulpit with a lot of my members who have got fainting. Let me say this. Everybody don't go running around this person.
Okay. That you know
Let's
what?
just stop there for a second. Listen, stay where you are, pray. But we need those who are
really
trained,
who train nurses
to come and take care of them,
and not just the lady with the white outfit,
right?
With some mints. I mean, I love y'all.
Not the med lady.
You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, but some stuff is beyond mints and waters and church fans,
right?
And a towel.
Absolutely.
You know, now they have, you know, we need what they got. They might have, you know, stuff in the back, but you know, thankfully, many of our churches, to the genius of our communities, we have people that attend that are medical professionals, you know, and they at least have some semblance of how to respond.
Right.
They'll know whether that person is having a stroke or a seizure or symptoms of a heart attack, and that helps, of course, dictate the response of what you should do. Some churches we have had like a person who just has known issues and frequently has those issues. And if you're from the outside, sometimes it feels like the people don't care, or they're too casual or just too calm. But the people who know, like, this sister or this brother is prone to seizures. And not to say that it could never not be a very serious, but they've learned how to address it, you know. So thank you for saying that we can't crowd the person and church. when it's out, especially in the pews, it's like the worst place to have an incident because you're in pews.
Absolutely.
Churches are not very well built for people to have.
It's almost like the airplane on the ground.
Yeah. You know, it's like an airplane on the ground. I mean, you're in a pew, you know, and so it's really hard. Yeah, some get diabetic episodes. And please, Deacon Grover has said this before. Hey, all my elder saints, I love y'all. Will y'all please eat something for y'all come to church? Please drink some orange juice. You know what I'm saying? Put them in your, because
eat a banana.
Eat a banana, do something. Because y'all be scaring the bejesus out of us. And then when it's all over, they were like, I should have took my pill. And I'm like, take your pill. If you don't take your pill.
I just ain't ate today.
If you don't eat that orange, please. Because a lot of times, you know, thankfully, the more minor things turn out to be that. But a church is one of the worst places because it's so tight, it's so constricted. You know, it's just weird.
And then to that point, because we're talking about the older folk and some of those who are diabetic, but to us as pastors, there are times, and it's very difficult. And I know we're going to address this, but it's very difficult for us to say we're sick and we're not going to preach today.
We won't say it.
We won't. I personally remember, and I was
cut my
preaching
arm off, Doc.
I was preaching at TriStar.
I'm away.
I preached in Youngstown. We went out to eat. When I went out to eat, I was sick already.
Right.
But I had to preach at TriStar. And I went out there, and I mean, I preached like and I was sweating it. And I mean, soon as I got done, I literally fell out in the pulpit, and everybody rushed up, and you know, I mean, I threw up about 30 times on the way home.
Man, I'm telling you, and that's the crazy thing is, and here's the worst thing about us is the more we feel the sickness or we know it's there, we were already feeling bad, we don't take it easy.
We don't.
We actually go harder.
Yep.
I don't know if this is our way of fighting back. I don't know because obviously you have to push harder to get it out.
Right.
And you're thinking about so much. I don't care what it is. I mean, we're here to be totally. It could be my stomach's messed up. It could be, you know, whatever, bad headache. I mean, you know, or again, feeling faint, feeling dizzy, feeling weak, whatever. So you start pushing much harder, and you're thinking about more things. You're more self-conscious.
Yeah, you're very self-conscious.
You're more self-conscious. You're worried if they notice
that you're sick.
That you're really. Now, sometimes they can see it on you. You know what I mean? They can see it. You feel flushed, pale.
I try to stay in my office before I come out, you know, so they don't, you know, so I'm not talking to anybody.
The praise team's so competitive. They never call it. But let's talk about what you just said about pushing through. You know, we're almost like athletes in that we are expected to push through pain. You know, there's usually only one primary preacher in most churches. The senior pastor is that person, male or female. And there is an unhealthy dynamic that no matter how much we talk about, we still haven't let go of. And that's the person.
That's the person.
And we take that on, we embody it. And to be honest, no matter how much folk say take care of yourself, and we've joked about this before, we know if we're not in the pulpit and we're not there will be a response.
There's a different dynamic when we're not there. There's a different dynamic when people know that you're not going to be there.
And I'll say this a million times, like a lot more has to do with the people's attitudes and expressions than the preacher's ego. I believe that more of us would share preaching and, you know, allow for others and not feel so pressured to preach all the time if the congregation didn't just say it in word, but in deed, that they really can receive and will give the same energy and love. Now, if someone doesn't preach like I preach, I mean, obviously the same energy is not going to be reciprocated. Everybody ain't got to step over banisters and walk on pews. I mean, I don't know if Pierre is ever going to give it a shot. You know, go on ahead, brother. Knock yourself out, Pastor Glenn. See if you can do a somersault or something. But so I get that.
You said preacher insanity.
Right. It is preacher insanity. But there's just a dynamic that comes with us. They feel we're invincible. We feel we're invincible. We're always on. And there's something I'll just say that bugs at me. I am blessed to be able to be supported by my church to do ministry. Okay. And I feel like, man, out of all that I get to do mostly on my own schedule, on my own time, you know, and don't take that too far because I'm definitely ripping and running to get everywhere. But this 90 minutes where I've got to be here.
Absolutely.
You know, that I just feel obligated to it. Yeah. I just feel obligated to it. I owe it to the people, to God. And yes, you might not even like to hear this, but yes, financially, because I'm taken care of, like Absolutely. The least I could do is be here and push through. I'll go pass out Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday.
It's
but
so
I just don't want to leave Sunday hanging.
And I mean, and that's, you know, I told my wife the other day, this wasn't even a preaching engagement, but it was, and you know, I pastor an hour and 15 minutes away.
Yes, you do.
An hour and 15 minutes. And that's on a good, hot, dry day.
Right.
You know, but they had a missionary Christmas party. So I drove to Steubenville for an hour and 15 minutes, was only able to stay at the Christmas party for an hour to drive back to work an hour and 15 minutes again, because you just have that I have to show up.
Right.
Even if I can't stay there the whole time, I have to show up.
Right. Pierre ain't got no time for pulled hammies. Glenn said, not with these bad knees. I'm a worker while I can. Yeah, I mean, you feel like you just can't not show up, you know, and that's a part that, you know, everybody in their own world has their pressures. If you ask a mother, why does she do what she does for her kids? The answer is going to be, because I just feel like I have to. And the same difference really does apply to sincere ministers, sincere preachers. I just have to. I'll be all right. I'll sleep when I'm dead, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
I've said it.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. And there are times, speaking of which, it might not even be actual physical sickness, because believe it or not, for those of you that hopefully couldn't tell, we have nights where we did not sleep the night before for whatever reason. And I'm not going to get super spiritual spooky about it. It could be a reason behind it. But at the same time, sometimes you just have a weird sleep schedule gets off. Stuff goes, you take a nap at the wrong time, or you doze off, wake up and can't go back to sleep. And now it's 6 a.m. from Saturday to Sunday morning and you still ain't went to sleep yet. Mm-hmm. And now you can't go to sleep, because if you do, you're going to be jacked up. And so you walk into church like that. And so it's not always, I'm diabetic, or I'm having heart issues, or, you know, it can just be simple lack of rest, or I've just been running all week long, or I've gone through this past week especially, just overly stressed. Like, nobody should be dealing with this much stress and hands and so many different things, like pulling at my attention, like your mind just can't rest. You know what I mean? Even if you're sleeping, your mind's not resting, you know? And so that impacts what we push through. And it's not just a sermon moment.
Oh, no.
By the way, it's walking in the door and being attentive, greeting people. You know, you'd be surprised how many times, you know, you think the preacher's ignoring you and he's running to a toilet.
And you steadily having that conversation.
And you just got to say, and
I don't want to say,
listen, sister,
I really gotta.
Listen, y'all, you know, trouble in the tummy right now, sis. I need you to wrap this up. I need you to wrap the story up. But I'm just saying, but it could be as simple as, or stress, like I'm not even really here. Like, I'm so spaced. I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to hear you. I love you dearly, dearly. And I don't want you to ever think like we're just faking phony, or, you know, and I can't tell when he's paying attention. It's like, that's not really the point. The point is not to try to figure that out. It's just to know that we're all going through this human experience.
Listen, this morning, I got up, got ready. My wife and them wasn't feeling well. Ran outside because I wear my coat, so I wanted to just take my suit jacket. Went outside to put my suit in the car, slipped.
That's the
boom,
worst.
hit the ground, man.
Hurt
I should have known that. I should have known then what's going on. But I went home, changed my clothes, got back, got in the car. I said, I need to stop at 717 before I go. I'm taking the back way. You know the back way from my house to 717.
Uh-huh.
Go around that first corner. My car slides. I mean, I come like this far from the. I'm trying to figure out how I can get my car to go through these two poles,
right?
And not hit the pole.
Yeah, and not hit the pole.
And I told the church, I wish I could say I said Jesus, 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 but those were not the words I said.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? So all the way down there, I'm doing 45 miles per hour to Steubenville.
Right.
When I get, my heart is still racing.
Right.
You know, and people come there like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm scared.
Right.
I'm
That's
literally
how I am.
scared.
I'm shaking.
I'm literally scared.
I'm
nothing can, you know.
Yeah.
Every car that rides past me, every time, because I'm thinking this car is going to, you know, do it again.
Right.
It's scary.
Right.
We don't know.
Andre has a question, but I want you to clarify what you're saying. If we find out you're not going to be there, are you asking if I'm afraid you won't show up? I just want to make sure I understand the question. I think to a point, because people practically tell you that. And in some ways, they'll tell you, you know. And then you feel bad because then there's the feedback, and that gets to a whole another question about who you put in your pulpit when you're not there. You know, that becomes a whole new discussion. Because sometimes, and I don't mean this, and I have a whole staff, and everybody has different gifts. You can't help who's available to fill in for you, so you got to go with what you got.
Absolutely.
And again, that's where our love and our grace for what God gives or who God is allowed to be with us to share, because nobody is everybody's favorite person. I'm not everybody's favorite person, so it is what it is. But am I afraid, I guess, is what you're asking, that we won't show up? I don't want to say afraid, but I do feel like people have broadcast too much with too much casualness that, you know, if I ride by and don't see your car, I keep on riding. And I know it's jokey joke, but I just hate that dynamic. You know, I think a lot of ministers just got away, period, from making public announcements unless we're going on like an actual trip.
Absolutely.
Unless I'm going on like a missions trip or taking a sabbatical or something. Most ministers have gotten away from just announcing. You just come to church.
Just come to church. And
you know, and the church is always supposed to be bigger than the person, you know. Grover says, and you can clarify that because we can answer it better if we didn't get your question right. Deacon Grover says, I believe the Lord will give you what he wants you and us to have in those situations. You're right. Our former pastor would say on some Sundays that he was tired, but it seemed like it brought it more. There's definitely extra push when you're tired and when you don't feel well. And sometimes when you're stressed, there's like an extra push. So here's what I want to ask Pastor Jeff and maybe some of you. How do you wrestle with the idea that sickness or extreme tiredness or stress is a product of spiritual warfare that you need to fight?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. Sickness is sickness to me.
Okay.
People get sick. We all get sick. It happens. You know, I think there are times when there is spiritual warfare, but I call it what it is.
I get you.
I mean, if I got a cold and a runny nose, you know, and, you know, I'm blowing tissue, I'm sick. That's what it is.
Right,
you know what I mean? But, you know, there are times when, you know, in my mind, I'm fighting myself in my mind. I'm fighting this sermon that I have to preach, or you know, I'm fighting what I have to say, because sometimes what you have to say is not fun and not easy.
Your sermons will make you sick.
Absolutely. Your sermons will make you sick.
I mean, your sermons will make you sick sometimes.
I mean, and if you don't believe me, listen, Jonah went a whole nother direction, went to a whole nother city. He never. Y'all can get excited because he got off the boat, he preached, and he delivered a whole city. He never agreed with God.
The whole time. I
never
preached a
agreed.
whole month about that.
He never
the
agreed
whole
with
time.
God.
He was ticked off. He didn't want to say it.
Right.
Elijah ended up depressed off of his sermons.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was, and I think, you know, something we have to think about clearly. And by the way, and that leads me back to, some people think preachers aren't tough enough anymore. You know, and they're not strict enough, and they don't say the hard things. Do you know how much it takes out of you to now, some people are so hardened, they're just mean-spirited people. They just can't wait to tell folk off and call everybody a sinner and send everybody to hell. But the rest of us...
It's spiritual warfare. That's what the deacons.
Let the church say amen. Let me stop.
Woo.
No. I heard that a few times from some of the old heads have said that. Them devils on the front pew. No, but and if you wonder why preachers lean towards encouraging, uplifting, or what some of you might consider to be sugar-coated preaching or whatever, you know, because y'all make it y'all make it so hard for the preacher to tell the truth. And by the way, there could be two real hard things going on. First of all, sometimes you have to say hard things to good people.
Yeah.
Hard things to good people. When you're doing the rebukes and the corrections and all that stuff, that's not just for the rebellious. Sometimes it's your faithful people that need to step up too, or need to align in one area or another. And you are worried as a human being and a shepherd of what that will result in. Absolutely. Will they draw back? Another fear might be is that sometimes people become too rabid in supporting our hard things, and you start to feel for the people who feel convicted. Because let's just say we're talking about sexuality, let's say, and you are addressing the biblical definitions and traditions of sexuality. Well, you feel for the person who is probably struggling, while 90 other people are like, that's right, you know what I mean? And they about to go to a whole nother level. Kill him dead, you know, kill him dead and all that. And you just try to just give the truth out, but you're walking this balance beam, and that's where the mental and emotional part can be effective to you physically.
Absolutely.
Preaching before and after hard funerals, or knowing you have a family member or a church member, especially if there's someone that you were especially close to, they're on their sick bed, there's likely not a good outcome from this. You know that you're likely going to walk out of this pulpit and hear something in the next day or so. Like, that literally does put on, it affects you physically. I don't get stressed out with being affected physically. That's one of my things. I don't get stressed out without being affected physically. It messes me up to let stress and anxiety take hold, which is why I'm so grateful for my crew, so grateful for you, my wife, my buddies, because it means so much to be able to release that, because I know that if I don't, I will not physically be at my best. And the pass out, the faint, the dizzy is not because I didn't drink enough water this week, even though I don't drink enough water, and not because I ate too unhealthy. It's really because I compounded all that emotional, mental stuff on top of being the guy that probably needs to eat better. You know what I mean? And you put all that together, that's why you see preachers leave here early.
Absolutely.
That's why we see those things.
People don't, Mother's Day. That's one of the biggest days at church. I lost my mom. So I have to preach this happy-go-lucky message. Yeah. And tell all my mothers and all the mothers of the church, Happy Mother's Day.
Right.
And, before I ever get to church, I'm looking at Facebook posts and memories and you know what I'm saying? My mother's picture. And after I leave, you know what I'm saying? While everybody else is going to share. Well, not everybody, because a lot of us have lost our mother. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That is mentally draining.
It's draining. And again, it has physical manifestations.
Absolutely.
It really does. I want to talk back to that spiritual warfare point, and then I want to talk about the response point. The spiritual warfare point, I do believe that there can be times when the enemy will attack us physically, knowing that our physicality is a part of our ministry. I mean, if we can't be present, if we can't be physically there, if we can't be at our energy level that we desire to be, then our word, and at least especially in our minds, it won't have the impact that we hope it would. Absolutely. Whether it's a loss of focus or you're just not there in body and you're not fully able to focus. Because again, you're worried about yourself. You're worried, can I get to the end of this? That kind of thing. But there is a push. And what I would say is that to those of you who notice that the pastor is pushing, that is the time to push with him.
Yes.
I mean, that is the time. And sometimes we have these dynamics in church where people notice something wrong and they kind of sit back and wait, and everybody gets paralyzed to wait and see what's going to go wrong. What's going to happen? Is he going to make it? And it's almost like, I'm not asking you to be delusional, while I'm on the floor, like, use him, Lord. Like, they ain't using me no more. I need some oxygen. But if you do see the minister the last thing we need, and I hate to say it like this, but the last thing we need to see is a bunch of worried folk.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to care about me. I want you to be concerned.
But don't be worried.
But don't just sit there and get paralyzed and worried over stuff. Pastor, you had a heart. Yeah, man, I'm tired. Well, we're going to praise God today.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're going to make your job easy. We're going to help you turn that 35-minute sermon that you're into a 20-minute one so you can get in and get out, get to it, strike that organ up and sit down. You know what I mean? Because we still want to do what we want to do. You know what I mean? We still going to do the linebacker with the gimpy legs, still going to try to make the sack. The preacher with the tired spirit and the sick body still wants to get the sermon out. So help me get there quicker so we can move on.
Help us push.
Correct.
That will actually help us.
And maybe not push so much because we're being pushed.
Well, yeah. But it's going to make us feel, you feel the energy coming back at you. You feel the amens. Man. You feel, somebody stands up for you.
It's like medicine.
Yes.
It's like medicine.
It is.
You know, when you can give that energy. And again, we're not asking you to encourage us, because I've seen this happen where people will encourage you to your detriment. Yeah. Like, you need to sit down, but they tell you, keep going. Keep going. Like, nah.
Take your time.
No, not today. Stop. No, please stop. So when the moment comes, though, and we had this, and I'll mention my moderator preached for us last year, and at the very end, right as he was closing, he was right in his hoop, and he stopped immediately, Moderator Brown, and I could tell he was getting faint. And he did a little step back, little teeter, and I jumped up, you know, and guided him back to his seat.
I remember that.
And it's on us, as much as we're having church, to notice. Yeah. To notice.
Absolutely.
And even if you notice, I think that those of us, because I've been that guy. I've been associate for a long time for my father. I've been that younger minister, always in the pulpit with older ones. Even now as a pastor, if I'm younger, I just feel it's my duty to look out for the older.
Absolutely.
Or whoever's minister. If I'm not the minister that day, I just have like a head on a swivel kind of mentality, you know, where if I'm up there in the pulpit with a preacher and they gonna fall in my arms, I'm gonna move quick.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we don't move. And preacher didn't show all the signs, eyes and rolled the back of his head, and you know, and I'm like, yo, and everybody can't. But there's a reason, and there's a reason we kind of sit close. Well, all them preachers up there. I'm glad I got some preachers close to me, you know, in case something were to happen. But what should the response be? You know, how do you handle it? What are you're in the middle of the sermon? How do you?
Once again, it's never happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I do think.
What would you like to see then? Like, if you knew that you or someone you loved was going through a medical emergency, would you go up and start to stop them and just, you know?
I think you should. Yeah. You should. I mean, I don't think you should wait till, you know, exhaustion comes.
Right.
I don't think you know, especially if you know this person, you know how they preach. You know me.
Right.
I am exciting. If I'm, you know,
in the clouds,
talking real.
Yeah, you're starting.
That's not what I do.
That's right.
That's not what I do.
Right.
What's going on? You know what I mean? So I think we have to know the people, and that's why I tell all my ministers, if you're preaching, if I give you an opportunity to preach, and I've always said this, every church I've been to, I'm probably not going to be the one up standing, clapping, and pushing you. Maybe at the end with you, but I'm taking notes.
Right.
We're going to talk about this sermon after you get done. I'm watching you.
You're watching them, yeah.
I'm watching.
And I want to learn people, honestly, because now I've spent a good 10, 12 years of my life now being in the pulpit.
Right.
So my time to sit back and watch everybody else is limited.
Right.
Their time to watch me is expanded. So they know me and have, like you said, gotten used to me. And I hope they would notice if my words start to slur or I begin to stumble. Now, I'm clumsy, so don't always.
Knocking over mics
once in a while.
I knock over water all the time.
You know, and I'm grateful that I believe I have ministers now, and we have just brothers, our deacons, who they watch and pay attention. And I'm grateful for that. Heaven forbid I would go through some sort of spell, you know, where I begin to lose consciousness or balance or, you know, something of that nature, that they would respond quickly. Now, you said something about, and I know this is hard to do because we all have our own natural in the moment responses. You said something about not crowding people, which is important. But I also want to kind of say crowding people is not always a physical thing. Sometimes it's an audible thing. And sometimes the saints who mean very, very well, will start to make a lot of noise when things go wrong.
Yeah.
The devil is a lie. Ah! You know what I mean? And after a while, it's like, I can't even hear the person in my ear ask me if I'm all right.
Right.
Or I can't properly communicate. You know, so, and I know it's hard to say, don't start interceding and don't. I'm not saying don't intercede and don't pray, but sometimes we turn it into it.
God hears your silence.
Like we try to turn it into a revival. And
your shit about a Hondas don't need to be said right
listen.
EDDIE, that spells ED.
It's difficult though, like to tell people what to do, because maybe you need exactly that. You do need the prayers, but you also don't need the confusion that might come that scares. You know what I mean? Because I know there's like 2B there, and it gets real scary real quick. I mean, think about Bishop Jakes. Mm-hmm. So the good thing about Marvin Winans and Bishop Jakes is that they were two completely different situations. Marvin Winans was standing between two pews, like teaching a Bible study, basically, at a church that looks something like ours.
Right.
All right. And he started to keel over a little bit. He was slowing down, and he was just keeling just ever so, just right in between the pews. And I mean, he was all the way almost down by the time they got to him. You know, now some people could have said, adjutants, ministers should have moved faster, should have seen it, should have understood that. You just don't know sometimes, because here's the other part. We've seen so much in the Spirit.
That's what I was about to say.
We've seen so much in the Holy Ghost that nothing really shocks us.
And you don't know
anymore.
if somebody's trying to do it like a skit or something.
Listen,
you know,
but even if it's not a skit, we were raised laying hands on people and they just lay on the ground for 20 minutes. I mean, and we were raised like that. So what is it for the preacher to be laid out for 5 minutes? I mean, you know, but in Bishop Jake's case, he's on this massive stage all by himself, probably 30, 40 feet from the nearest person. Okay? And, you know, nobody's even that close to him to really see in his face what could be wrong as they start to finally converge. And again, I think the response is as good as you can do in any emergency. And to Tiffany's point, I want to exercise grace with the fact that those incidents are caught on camera, and we do a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we've all had incidents in our church, and you don't know how exactly you respond or what timing you would jump and make that response.
And that really brings up a good point, because so many more people are moving away from there being nothing in the pulpit but the pastor.
Right.
You know, that's how it is at my.
That's how it is at my church. I mean, our chair's off to the side.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's at least somebody's up
close,
there.
But you're
you know
just,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and that brings up a good, you know, does somebody need to be up there just in case?
Well, I mean, we do that now. I mean, our guys are 5 steps away, but that's why we think it's a bad thing to have that man in the chair on the side. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or that person standing, and we sit here like, oh, you're such a big shot, or this guy's not that important that he can't. But he's in a vulnerable position just by being by himself up there.
Absolutely.
Not just to crazy person might run in and attack them, but they might go through something and have no one near them to catch them or help them. And so I think the response is, again, those qualified people. But like our deacons, and I think Grover has a story. One of our ministers who passed away, who was a minister in our area, he had a moment of weakness, kind of dropped to a knee, and they had to jump over the banister there and see to him. He had grown weak at the end of his sermon. To Glenn's point, Pastor Glenn's point, that a minister or deacon steps in and takes control. And that's where it's so important that we have the maturity and the discernment to give instruction and direction in that moment.
Absolutely. Somebody
has to step up.
Absolutely.
And say, sisters, brothers, as we're praying for our pastor, let's be mindful right now. Things like don't take out your phone. The stream needs to go off. Let's just be prayerful right now, and create an atmosphere where the right care can be administered to that person, and it can be determined what needs to happen. And again, like you said, we haven't been there, but we probably will be at some point.
That is so key. You know, I remember at least twice, you weren't even sick, but you just went to your knees, and I think you were crying or just crying out. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, And we had way more than ministers at the church we were at. But it just felt like it was my responsibility to go up there and take control of the crowd and, not to bother you.
I get it.
You had a moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're having a moment right there.
Right.
You know
but there
what I mean?
needs to be some direction and instruction.
Some direction as to where else to go.
Absolutely. Do any of you have questions or comments about, experiences that you've had? Because I think it's very serious. And in the social media world, we're going to see more of it because, before you wouldn't know. You never would have known unless somebody told you later. But when I got home from church, and Texas is 2 hours behind us, and the moment it happened,
right,
Bishop Jake's video was up because he reaches hundreds, tens of thousands of people.
Listen, I had these blockages in my heart. I don't know for how long.
Right.
I have no idea for how long I had them. And thank God it happened at work.
Right.
That could have happened at church.
Right.
It could have as easily happened at church as it did at work. Just thank God it did. It happened where it happened. And thank God I was able to get the help that I needed.
And I think one other thing that we need to touch on before we go is that perhaps our theology has to shift a little bit. Because sometimes we're a little too flippant about who we think God has his hand on or doesn't have his hand on based on what incidents they do or do not have.
Absolutely.
Or what the results of those incidents are. As if, okay, I've been preaching and teaching all this time. God's keeping me. I got my life, my health, my strength, blood running warm through my body. What happened when it is not? What am I saying? Am I saying that, God's taking his hand off me? Because it's too easy. And sometimes we will say it. Yeah, you got to watch out, because if God was really with him, he would protect you while you ministering.
Who's saying
he would look after you?
Who's saying that this man
would be? Yeah.
Who's saying?
Yeah.
Neither him nor his parents.
Yep.
But for God to get the glory.
Right. I mean, it's tough because we've built whole theologies of wellness, absolutely, attached to righteousness, and we determine that if somebody's not well, they haven't been right. And let's just say, and it's so funny how we will be so opposite in our response based off whether this person is beloved by us, right, or we don't care for them. So if they're a person who's beloved, it's prayers and God, there's a greater glory coming out of this and da-da-da-da. And if it's somebody we don't care for, it's, I told you, you can't play with God. You've been, the ministers, let somebody that you don't really respect get sick. And it'll be, God, is he judging the land? God is judging the land. Judgment begins in the household of God. But let your preacher pass out that you love.
Wow.
And I think we have to be very, very careful.
Man, he told me this story, dude.
He did. That's a true story.
God. I was laughing so hard.
It's true. That's actually true.
He was pulling the wrong leg.
He was pulling the wrong leg. Not that leg. Well, it's nice knowing y'all. I'm gonna get you suckers when you start taking off everything.
I have a question.
Please.
Sister Carol Martin, I believe that's who it was, made a comment earlier. When you guys talk about being stressed, having a rough week and all of that, she asked, she actually stated that's why you guys have Religiously Incorrect. Does the show help you?
Oh, man. Oh, absolutely. Man, like y'all don't know. Like you never know. I mean, I'm obviously not doing it for money.
No, we ain't doing it for money.
Nobody's doing it for money. No, I mean, sometimes my wife says, you got the show tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I need this.
It is definitely and sometimes, oftentimes I'm tired, but I know when I get here, I know what's going to come out of it.
Right.
I know I'm going to be able to say something or hear something.
Right.
Or even the comments. You guys comments.
Oh man, you guys
are life.
You always.
You know,
always.
Marlon's
jokes. Scott. You guys get us going. And I want to add one more thing to this. Tony Brown told me a funny story about when he was looking for a church in Warren, and we don't say names, but he went in one church. And the preacher kept saying, it's hot, can y'all turn the fans on? And they would not turn the fans on or turn the heat down. And he was like, are they about to vote this guy that they don't like him? Like, what is going on? I will say that sometimes we have things about comforts, temperature, stuff like that. I'm going to be very selfish and say, please mind your preacher when he says it's too hot in the room, because we feel it different than you do. And like in our church, we have one of those older churches that's been retrofitted with HVAC and all that, so we can be real cool. And if the heat kick on, which it does, and we had a super duper hell is hot HVAC system, and when that sucker kick on, it does something to us. But like, you don't know. Again, that is literally putting me at risk in a way. And by the way, with the way we dress,
right?
We put these robes on. Mm-hmm. It's not all, and they're not as heavy as they look, by the way. They're actually made of a lighter material than they look like. But a robe is a robe. A black robe down to your ankles, it just is what it is. And these little comfort things like, hey, can you just shiver for me for a second? Like, because I'm up here under these hot lights.
Right.
The heat's hitting me different. All them extra lights are shining. It's a different feeling up here, whether you realize it or not. And our church is a little bigger and it's longer and it has these vents and all that stuff. We ain't got none of that. So in the wintertime, the summertime, when the air's on, it ain't on like that in the front because the way our church is built. And so it's just so funny. We be practicing for hell.
I know where she was going, that comment. I'm like, hold on.
Right. We be practicing for hell when the heat come on, boy. It come on quick. But I'm just saying, like, when preachers make little comments like that, they need something to drink. They need a wet towel. They need the heat turned down. Like, please listen to them. Please. You know what I mean? Churches are churches. It's just like any other building. It's tough to regulate things.
Yeah, it is.
But man, there have been times when I was in such a bad shape that I was like going out the back door where the musicians come in and just standing in the cold for a minute to try to come down before I come up to preach. This is before you came, Mike. There's a couple times when it was just like so hot. I'm like sweating already. And I'm a sweater. I get a little, don't hate that I start to sweat. And so I'm like trying to cool off so quick so that I can come down a little bit. Because, believe it or not, our heart rate is up, our temperature is up, our blood pressure is up, and it's up when we walk in the door.
Right.
It is going to be up.
Right. I can't be cold.
You can't be cold?
I cannot be cold. If I'm cold, it's over. It's done.
I'm a preacher's hot, so it doesn't matter.
Mike will tell you at work, I got 30 heaters on in my... I cannot be cold.
Dude, I walk back there. We got those gas heaters, and they're on top, so the heat comes down.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back there talking to Jeff, man. Dude, my hard hat be melting. That'd be hot.
I cannot stand it.
Rome said, y'all just need to drink some Gatorade and keep going.
Stop complaining.
I love it. But no, man, we pray for preachers and for ministers of the gospel. It is not easy to do this. It is said that, we're some of the unhealthiest people on the face of the earth. It is a great stress. And it's funny because it is a stress and a release at the same time in a lot of ways. I
think sooner or later, and I don't know whether we need to bring somebody on, but sooner or later we need to talk about, is there a time that comes where it's just a little bit too much?
Well, there's been people that I've wanted to stop, and I want to give a great big shout out. I was going to say this a little earlier. When I used to help out and play at St. James on Sunday nights, Mother Lathonia Heron, Mother Thelma Holman, they would go up to Dr. Melvin and sit him down.
Wow.
Because they were his big sisters.
Yeah.
And they would see him going. And they probably
the only two people who could sit
going. And going, and there are only two that could to just say, I never know that day might come, and Shamika I might feel her behind me, and she just, that's it, that's enough. And you know what that family is saying? Like, you preaching for all these folk, but you're our brother, you're our husband, you're our father. Absolutely. And when this is over, we want somebody to be able to come home and be healthy with us. So if y'all ain't got saved by now, y'all can just burn, right? And you're right, John. You know, it might not be the road, but lights. You know, I'm doing a lot. You know, I'm doing. All of us are doing a lot. And don't think that, you know, I'm a lot. I do a lot in service. You know they do. I do a lot. But don't think that if other preachers aren't doing exactly what I do, that they're not doing a lot too. Because there's a lot that ministers just worry about and look at and consider and are checking on and sending messages and want stuff to be just right. And it'll mess with you. Greg, I think, has a question. After preaching your sermons, is it true that you do not want cold water to drink? Most of us try to avoid very cold beverages after doing anything that has to do with speaking or singing. It's just not good.
Lukewarm is good.
Lukewarm. Yeah, I'm a lukewarm type person. Now, when I'm done, there's some juice or water or something in the back. I mean, that's cool. It's never really like icy. But like beforehand, of course, Sister Deb can testify to this. You know, we don't do the sugary stuff, the ice cold stuff, because them hoops ain't gonna come out well if we do that. I don't do the tea and all that stuff unless I'm not feeling well.
I never have. Yeah.
I don't do the tea unless I'm having them coughing fits or something's going on with me. But yeah, and everybody's different. Everybody's body functions and reacts different. So, and that's the other thing about preachers with our diets and even with what we drink. We become like hardened creatures to what we drink. So what probably shouldn't be good for us, we still drinking that cold goblet of orange juice or Gatorade in the Bishop Don Juan goblet with the medallions on it with the little doily on top. But we can handle it because we've been doing it for so long. You know, we've been doing it for so long. So, and the funny thing is, and thanks for saying that, Andre, it's just the love of doing ministry that gives us the biggest strength. Like, we really do love what we do.
Really do.
I feel bad for like miserable preachers. Like, they're miserable, they're sick, they're mad at the saints all the time, you know, because I couldn't imagine not loving what I do.
Absolutely.
Couldn't imagine.
Not only do I love what I do, I love the people I do it with, the entire congregation.
Right.
And the people, when you have people who love you as much as you love them.
Yeah.
And just the back and forth, and I mean, it's just a great feeling.
Right.
And, you know, you go somewhere where you feel, you know, it's almost excited to get there.
Man, the preacher's juice always looks better. I mean, Big John, the preacher's juice always. That's why I don't put it up there, because it's a distraction. It's a distraction. I use that little Walmart water bottle up there because that goblet, man, that's, people be staring at the goblet, man, I want some of that drink.
We be thirsty too, though.
People be thirsty.
We gotta wait.
Now, I appreciate it, Tony. You know, you're right. I do have a lot, and most pastors do have a lot going on, and you know, it's tough. You know, even with this council stuff, obviously, y'all know it was a stressful week with that. And it is not just stressful this week, but many weeks. Sometimes I'll be looking at this whole situation like, man, what do I need to cut out or cut down? What can I? And it goes right back to, what will you allow? You know what I mean? Because it's easy to say it. And then next month it'll be, man, Bryce ain't doing nothing. This guy he just up here doing his little hour and going home. You know, so it's always a balance.
It is.
You know, so
it is. That's why those sabbaticals are nice. And I mean, we don't take them enough, to be honest with you.
I heard a preacher say we don't. I think what he was trying to say was, younger ministers who haven't earned it are like throwing sabbaticals around like a trend. It's like, you ain't even did nothing to earn it yet. You know what I mean? Like, you've been pastoring for 2 years, and now you want to take a 7-month sabbatical and you want the church to pay for it. You know, and I don't know, like, how long.
It depends on what church you got, too.
Listen, it does. Because everybody can't. Man, you come back and won't have no church.
Man. They have a whole nother pastor.
You come back.
You like, who am I?
Keys ain't working.
Who am I spot? Who's scoring the pastor spot?
In my spot.
You ain't got no spot.
What happened to my website?
You ain't get the letter we sent you?
Go from my Facebook page and everything.
You ain't get the inner office mail?
Mike done changed the intro. That's why we don't leave, man. Black pastors don't do sabbaticals. We don't know what we're coming home to. That's comedy. That's comedy. No, how do you balance everything you do? I don't think I do, to be honest. I don't think I do a good job of it. I definitely need to slow down, and I need to find another. I need to. I don't know if I will, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
You will. I sure can't.
Yeah, Pastor Jeff is doing 3 different jobs and building steel mills and doing all kind of stuff, man.
Swing shift and all that.
Right. I love it, man. But I appreciate the show. I appreciate the comments.
It was a great show, man. Thank y'all for the comments, for all y'all said coming in.
They've been good. We both lost today, so you notice we didn't talk about that. So we'll just let that be what it's going to be.
We lost a year. I don't even watch it no more.
Thank you. Listen.
Amen.
Deacon, let me say something. I was getting ready to text you or ask, are there any indoor places around here that aren't Top Golf? Because I'm like...
Well, we used to have the one in Girard. I don't know what happened to it.
The Golf Dome?
Yeah.
Well, years ago, they had the snow crush.
That's what happened to it?
Yeah. Then they decided not to rebuild it. But, man, I literally, this week, with all the stupidity going on, I was like, man, I wish there was a golf course open right now. God, I wish I was a golf course open right now. I mean, they there. I mean, I ain't going out there in 12 degrees.
No, but I think there's one. I think that's soccer though, out in Portland, ain't it?
I don't know. They just got simulators around there. Just simulators, yeah. I needed to be in a cart riding around in the woods.
I broke a simulator one time. I ain't never going back to another one. Avery Danich.
Oh, really? I ain't going to
He was so mad.
Yeah, you got to take out a mortgage to go to Top Golf, Right. Yeah, take out a mortgage. And we do need someone to say, no, we're on our way. We getting people now that are starting to say, no, not today. We're not doing it. So it's coming. But I appreciate it. Any last words, Big Mike?
Hey, I appreciate you both. I appreciate all that you do. I respect what you do. I can do it, man. It seems like you guys are like, you ever see those magic shows where the guys got the plates and they spinning the plates and then one about to fall and they got to run back and spin that one? I feel like that's what you guys do, man. You guys just keep them plates spinning, man. I commend you on it. Love you guys. Appreciate you.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, it is. That's very, very appreciative. I got a lot of broken plates. But no, hey, we appreciate you guys. Trust me, your encouragement means a lot. And yes, we do try to take care of ourselves a little better. And you know what I'll tell you that you might not know? Most of the older ministers, most of our elders in ministry have all stayed on our backs about taking care of us, eating right, and taking time, because many of them will tell us that they're paying for what they, have endured and gone through. So this is probably not the last episode of the year. I think I want to keep moving because we don't have to worry about weekend holidays right now. So I think we're okay.
We'll at least do one more.
We're going to at least do one more.
At least one more.
At least one more.
Next week, I think we want to feature small businesses in the area.
We're going to do some Christmas joints. Okay. Yeah. We should have Santa Claus on. We should have Black Santa on. See if Mo can get Black Santa to come on. Tell the truth about how hard it is to be Black Santa. Talk about all the trials and tribulations.
We need to have one of them ringers, the bell.
The bell ringers,
because ain't nobody giving no money. We all got debit cards.
You need a Cash App reader. Some of them have them.
Do they?
Some of them have them.
I ain't seen them yet.
You can tap. Not around here. I mean, we're in Ohio. Nobody. But we need to have Santa on, talk about getting pulled over, because his license plate's expired and
stopping his sled,
dropping toys at his baby mama's house,
shooting at him in the air.
Santa drive-bys.
Right, his reindeer is a pit bull.
Well, I was about to say that. I was about to say he got pit bull reindeer. You got a Gucci Santa outfit on.
He got red bottoms.
Them fancy gold glasses. Them no limit soldier glasses. All right, y'all. We're gonna have Black Santa on next week. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna have Black Santa on.
We'll figure it out.
It's gonna be a good time.
Hey, Pastor Darren, how you doing,
Love you,
man?
Pastor Darren. Y'all take care.
Yes,
enjoy. Sir. Not that's racist. All right, is this your first time watching the show, Tiffany? We're pretty bigoted up in here. All right, y'all. We'll take care. That's okay. We'll have Chinese Santa too. All right, go off. Play Play the music.
We out, y'all.
Peace out.